I can't believe I gaslit myself into getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh!
I thought you didn't like card games.
I really don't, but this card game is something I grew up on, but I haven't touched the card in, more than 20 years. Honestly, I didn't expect to convince myself to buy a structured deck and actually enjoy it.
Does that mean you'll be making a video about card games?
Not for the near future. I'm actually waiting a couple of months to make myself a deck I really want to make. Tunes! I know that people who know the card game are listening to me say that and cringing, but what can I say? I like cartoons, especially old-fashioned style cartoons. I'll probably talk about the card game when I learn to build a deck. Actually, come to think of it, I should probably do a Warhammer Wednesday video about list building. I'm at least decent at making army lists, even though I can't roll over a 2.
You know, strategy also plays a big part in competitive games, right? Not just luck and build, right?
No shit, you don't say, man. Why didn't I think that I actually needed to think? Who to thunk it?
You don't need to be a prick about it, you might just be bad.
I mean, look, I know I'm bad. I've admitted that sometimes I just see red and go for broke when I could do other things that might give me a win. Of course, in these conditions, I do tend to still roll low and not have much in the way of hope. Of course, recently the card games have been really liking me. I'm starting to wonder if my luck is in cards, not dice.
I've played poker with you, David. That might actually be true. I'm always losing money to you.
I've also got a stone cold poker face, so it's kind of a miracle I don't have a gambling addiction, come to think of it.
You played dice games and card games. You may have a gambling addiction in games where you win literally no money.
I don't like that you actually make a point. Stop it. Stop reading me like a book. But I should get on with this video. So, as we all know, I have a deep and personal hatred of elves. You know what else hates elves?
Dean Stealer?
What? No. Well, yes. But in this context, I mean Talislanta. Now, originally I wanted to review the latest, the 6th edition, the Epic Edition as they called it, but there is no core rulebook CRB, so I needed to find the PHB, which I've found range anywhere from $25 for a PDF to $300 for a hardcover book. I'm certain that last one was a scammer who might be out of their mind, but I did manage to find myself a much more reasonable copy on some shady websites. And I want to start this out by saying that the table of contents is 8 pages long. This game will get some points knocked off for that intimidation factor alone. The introduction is honestly worth a read, though, as it gives a brief history of some of their old advertisements from the 80s, which actually is what convinced me to review this game. No elves. Big, bold, and proud. No sissy knife ears, no pansy skinnies. We are going full gruff in this house. Now, let's go over the rules. Gotta flip to it. Still flipping. Still going. Dear God. Okay. I'm at the rules overlay. Still not a character creation. It's a simple D20 system with a table for success rather than a DC system. Difficulty will add or subtract from your roll. Back to the flipping, combat rules, magic rules. Okay, character creation. The steps aren't really steps in this case, but seem to be more of a list of things you need to hit, though some things do require other things being completed, so this list is as follows. Archetype, attributes, skills, traits, background, equipment, skill ratings, and alignment. I want to talk about the attributes first, because despite being a D20 system, this ain't D&D. No elves allowed. Intelligence, will, perception, charisma, strength, dexterity, constitution, and speed. In all honesty, none of these I really need to go into. Some of these are the same as D&D stuff, but add perception and speed, change wisdom to will, as I believe it should be. Each of these sort of subsections too, as certain attributes are rolled to avoid reactions to certain things. For example, if a mind spell slaps you, you'd roll will. Now, it looks like each archetype starts with certain stats. Normally at this point, I would go through the archetypes or classes and give a brief description of them. But you know how many there are? More than 80. I counted 87 of them, skipping the NPC archetypes, and I'm pretty sure I screwed up somewhere. There's 21 NPC archetypes too, which means there's over 100 different archetypes here. And I ain't got time for that. Many of them assume to be from certain races or cultures, so keep that in mind. So, I've got to go into the list of skills, right? Well, they have a very similar issue. Excluding language skills, there's over 100 background skills, and background is technically an optional rule. Technically, of course, this is all insanely intimidating, and you're absolutely right. Thing is, there's absolutely no reason to be intimidated. This is the character sheets. The whole sheet. This is the most scary to look at, easy to play sort of game I have ever looked at. There's rules for skyships, there's rules for army running, there's rules for diseases and NPC management, there's rules for businesses, there's rules for spell failure and fizzling and backfire, there's rules for primitive cannons and magitech. Honestly, this is a really hard game to give a score to, because for all its negatives about being so bloated, this looks like a really fun and simple game to play and maintain. Unfortunately, with how the archetypes work, it seems to be setting specific, as each archetype is named with a race, faction, or similar, and I can't even find in this book where the races are or what they apply rather than a cosmetics change. Hell, the system of counterspell essentially points out how the combat works in this game. Everyone does their claims and rolls in order, and all results are recalculated together, both enemy and ally ones. Counterspell essentially is watching your opponent roll a magic spell and choosing the same spell or a spell with an opposite effect to destroy it. There's a table for cooking ingredients too, not just alchemical ones. Cooking! I need to give this game a score. This book is less than 300 pages, with 10 times as much as a single D&D game book. And this is just the player's handbook. There's so much potential, but so much to be afraid of too. There's too much to do and not enough to embrace it all. So I'm gonna give this game a 75%. It's good, but it might be too much to experience. This game is a full list of contradictions, and I recommend to anyone who wants to play or run this game to read some of the novels of the setting. At least, I hope there's some. I assume there's some. But I should get started building this deck. I need to figure out how to get 3 Toon Kingdoms. Shove off!